Good day, good people. Going live here on YouTube this morning because Fascist Book has restricted my account to go live. And I told you they're going to try and unpublish me over there. I'm working on getting set up on these platforms that aren't censored. Because even this one is just so ridiculous. But here nor there, let's get together, let's sip this morning, and let's talk. Secessio Plebis. Oh, how charming is that Roman battle music? So charming, isn't it? Bear with me, guys. Just gonna be another minute while I'm getting everything set up. I'm really not used to going live over here. Hey, Jack. How are you? Good day, good day. We're gonna talk a little bit about there's nothing new under the sun, really, but I feel like this is gonna be a fun discussion. So, yeah, man. Give me just a few. Almost red-eye. Oh, look, I have 4 people here. I'm so used to seeing so many more people because the tribe usually hangs out over on All Fascist Book. But I'm so glad to have you guys here. Oh, Billy's here. Familiar face. Well, hello, good people. Good morning. Grand rising. Happy day. Whatever it is to you. You know, let's not get caught up in that. But let's talk about this, right? So Secessio Plebis is, I think, how it's pronounced. I mean, Secessio, I believe. You know, I went back in the Roman time, folks. Hi, guys. So what this was it's like there's always been this theme with criminal psychopaths that love to rule over other living souls, right? And everybody's just been programmed to believe, since that's kind of how it's been, is these domineering, evil, psychotic, criminal-minded people always kind of push the other ones down and kind of manipulate them to do their will. It's kind of what we do, right? When you're looking at the theme of time in history, his story, let's point that out, because the true history is inside of us, and there is no way to get to the truth of who you are except by going in. So let's just all remember that little tidbit. So, to talk about what we're talking about here. So, oh wait, you know what, guys? Give me 2 seconds because I want to try and do something real quick. Disagree with the decision. They were trying to tell me I couldn't go live on Facebook, and they kept sending me notifications. I'm like, yes, I disagree with the decision. I disagree with the decision. I disagree with fascism. I disagree with pretty much everything I see going on in today's society. Yes, I strongly disagree. Check mark, check mark, check mark. I disagree. Freaking bizarro, right? That this is our world. Anyway, so I'm going to try and go and copy this link to this video and share it on Facebook real quick, guys. So give me 1 second. Sorry. I'm not used to being live on YouTube, so please, guys, be patient with me. I'm still learning this, and then I've got to learn streaming software, and I got to learn all this stuff, and I'm just thinking, wow, man. No, I'm not going to share it on that page. Oops, sorry, guys. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for your patience. All right, 2 seconds, guys. Ready, set, here we go. I think it just posted over there. I think it did. I can't tell you for sure. because they've been blocking me at every freaking turn, you guys. They're coming for me, and I don't care. This is what I say. All right. So, can somebody here tell me? Well, you know what? I'm not even going to put you on that task. Let me just do it myself. Some things are just better done alone, right? I'll do it. I'm just checking to make sure it posted, guys. Then I'm going to start talking. Oh, yeah, it's there. Okay. My beautiful non-makeup face. I love it. How wholesome. Yesterday, I had a guy go off about my eyebrows. You know what I mean? Because I was drawing my eyebrow off. I draw them on because this is me with no makeup. And some guy was like, I don't like your eyebrows. I'm like, wow, what a fucking bully, dude, to comment on somebody's external appearance. How low level. Sorry that you don't like my muggle meat suit, but you know, just kind of the hands were dealt, right? Ah, thank you, Jack. You're so kind. Okay, everybody that's here, you guys are troopers. Now let's get into this. As I was saying, Secessio Plebis, right? That's what we're talking about. And so this was actually something that happened, you know, multiple times, 5 times. And we don't hear a lot about this kind of stuff. And that's for a reason, guys, because they don't want you to know kind of things. And that's just how they are. But this is when basically peasants went on strike against the upper class in Roman times. And so there in ancient Rome, there's a clear divide, right? So there was the upper class of society. We're talking about all of the politician types, the equestrian classes, the wealthy people who had slaves and kind of ran Rome. And then we're talking about those lower class people were considered the plebs, right? The plebeians, I think, was their full name. So the plebeians, they were not middle class, they were lower class, because I want to make this very clear, and this may be hard to understand, but they did not want a middle class, and they never do want a middle class. And here we go with the same theme. So you've got upper class elite criminal scumbags, right? And then you have lower class citizens and no in between, which if we want to go back into the last 2 years little time, what have the upper class criminal scumbags of today's society done to the middle class? Blew it up, right? Oh, thank you guys just joining here. Sip, man. Sipping with you guys. Clink. Hey, Lisa. Okay. So there's that clear contrast, just like they've created now in today's reality. And this is between the upper class and the lower class. And one thing that the plebs knew back then is that they greatly outnumbered these upper class leaders, right? So there were these times when men used to be men, you know, before all of the chemical concoctions have come in and feminized everybody and made their taint shrink up a bit and basically brainwashed them with technology programming, because now we're even more detached as a society from humanity than we've ever been. Now humans are even more detached from what it is to actually be human and actually have goodness and kindness and love in your heart, because they've now infected us with the beast, which is all of the technology that is in every single home. And many people just get sucked into the programming even harder, which was all by design. However, I digress. Let's go back into here. So occasionally these plebs, they went on strike and they would leave these spoiled, wealthy, upper class, elite people to fend for themselves. And these events that they did became the succession of the plebs, or Secessio Plebis, you know, whatever, if you want to be cute with it. Now, these working class citizens, they weren't slaves, right? But they were the backbone of society, just like today. The blue collar working class citizen, we keep this machine going, right? The grocery store clerks, the truck drivers on the road, um, the convenience store workers, um, you guys, the farmers, the common laborers, the people who are out here building the structures. We are, we are the backbone of civilization. We are the important ones, yet we're treated like shit, paid peasants' wages, bullied, pushed around, told we have to do things with our personal bodies in order to even continue to produce an income at all. Right? Well, back in these times, these were the same kind of people, the farmers, the laborers, the builders of all Roman society. And they would go out there and they would toil and work all these long hours for basically just enough to barely support their families. And they were taxed pretty much to death by the elite class. Wait, why does that sound familiar? Whoa, did I wake up in ancient Rome today? No, I didn't. So do you see how there's nothing new under the sun? And this is kind of a thing that happens, right? So hopefully people out there who don't understand that this is history repeating itself, as in big time-o, can wake up and maybe come online to something here. Hi, everybody who's just joining. I can't really read the comments, but I will at the end, okay? So basically, these hardworking men and women of society who only wanted just to have their liberty, to take care of their families, to earn their wages and survive, but were put under the Roman boot, said enough is enough to these criminals, right? And so there's at least 5 documented times in history where they got sick of breaking their backs to keep these guys in their ivory towers, to keep them strolling around on the marble floors with getting waved with palm leaves and fed grapes, by their slaves. And they called this the Secessio Plebis, where they had this succession of the plebs. And this is where they were going on strike, basically. And it would bring the whole Roman economy to a fucking halt. Because why? Because we have the power, right? Now, this disrupted the ruling class because they didn't have nothing, you couldn't make them work. So they would be forced to listen and to make changes. Well, I would like to say now something in modern day has been so twisted that now the small fraction of ruling class think that they have the authority to tell us, right? And look at how they're bullying us into making decisions that we don't want to make over an employment opportunity. And so I felt this was an important topic to share with you guys, because you guys, we are the plebs. We have the freaking power here. We are the many. They are the very few. Like, they are so minute and they are so not worthy of anything. They are not worthy. We are the ones that built society. We are the ones that keep it going, right? Now, what happens if the plebs of modern day rebelled against Rome? Oh, snap. Well, what would happen? I'm not even saying that rebelling against Rome so that they can come out and offer us something would be good, but I don't think we need Rome. Rome has always been proven to be so criminal, so evil. And do we really need criminal evil organizations or institutions built by us for us? Do we need to put criminal elite scum in power? I would say we don't. But the programming in the human mind now is that this has always been the way it is. We've always sat back and surrendered our power over to some criminal, some leading family, some ruling class. Well, what separates them from us? What made these ancient time elitists better than the plebs? What makes these scumbag lunatics better than us? Nothing but a monetary, imaginary monetary, right? Difference. Human soul to human soul, we're all created equally. We should all be treated fairly. Not one of us should be hungry, starving, oppressed. Right? But yet we still consent to this kind of rule. And I like to keep saying to people, yo, man, we need to stop being so primitive in mind, which is where we find ourselves running into a wall a lot these days in our consciousness, because everybody's stuck on, well, that's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. That's just how it's always been. Well, if you keep up with that mindset, then by God, nothing will ever change. And I truly believe that this is what Jesus was trying to tell people, man. Like, get out of that mindset. We have to be the change. We have to be the ones who take a stand. Because if, like these plebs went through 5 different successions, right? Where they staged these strikes 5 different times. And each different time, these elite scumbags would come out and say, okay, you're right. You know, we'll do this differently. We're going to do this differently. We're going to do this differently. And they made these promises, just like today's modern day politicians make to us. There is nothing new under the freaking sun, brah, girl, whoever, man. I'm going to set. Clink. So there's nothing new and different about then and now, except that we're here now, right? And I'm hoping that now society can maybe take notes from things that have happened in the past and be the change, right? Be the change out here. Because these people, they went, like I said, 5 different times. Then they would have this whole big show where people were like, okay, yeah, we're going to do the changes and we hear you and it's going to be better and blah, 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 blah. And they'd have these assemblies and work everything out and they would still be in power. Do you see the problem there? If we're not going to be primitive minds right now, if we were going to say, stage a strike for humanity's sake, what would be the better solution than letting the criminal psychopaths remain in power? Anybody? You want to comment on what they think would be the better solution? Yeah, not letting criminal psychopaths rule us. Not giving our consent over to them to rule us. That's the answer. The answer is that we've been brainwashed to believe that we need this kind of institution implemented above us because that's how it's always been. It's the same thing with any kind of programming we received. And this is always a sore subject with people when I sit here and talk about religion. And you guys, none of us, not one of us, was born religious, folks. You, Mikey, Lavelle, James, Dukes, we weren't born religious. We were given their religion. We were born free-range human. We were born as a zero template, a quantum computer, a consciousness in a body, a soul, to have a human experience. We weren't born to be Buddhist, Muslim, Christian. That was all programmed based geographically on where we were located. So do you see the primitive thinking? Okay. And everybody's going to come at me with this, but I don't care. because it's so important that people see past this kind of programming. Okay? So at this point where we're at, those institutions that were programmed into us, especially the religious program that was put into us, is for control, right? And look what happened to Jesus when he tried to buck on what they were doing in the day. Whips, flipping tables, calling out the Pharisees, trying to teach people that God is already in us. We are already one with the Father. We were born like that, guys. All of us were born with the Spirit of God inside of us. But then it was somehow manipulated to be given these programs and these different teachings from other people. Like, oh no, this is how it is. Read this book, read this. This is what you believe. This is what you believe. And just inserting all this stuff into us, leaving that being our core programming. What beliefs were installed in us from wee ones. And one belief that was installed in us is this is what we put up with. The government is the government. These institutions, these elitists are the ones who call the shots. They make the laws. We follow around. We do what we're told. Even though the reality is they are nobody. We are everything here. And they've somehow twisted everything to enslave all of us and oppress us. And so it isn't until we as individual people take the initiative to go in and unprogram our minds from these false programs is what they are. These Romans, you know, when this was happening, they could have easily just walked away from Rome, right? Could you imagine if all of these people that were staging these strikes just said, screw you guys? You know, these were army people. These were the soldiers, okay, that were doing it. These were people who were bringing in the food and work and providing the food for everybody. So if everybody just got together and said, no, we no longer accept you guys ruling us, instead of getting together and demanding that they get more privileges from the criminal psychopaths so that their slave low-class life is more tolerable, if they would have just gotten together and said, oh my gosh, you know what? Look at all of us. Who are they? What do we need them for? Let's just congregate and move forward. The Romans don't have an army because they're on strike. They don't have any food going into Rome because everybody's on strike. So if the people took the power from the ruling class instead of sat there begging the ruling class to acknowledge that they deserve more, they could have changed the game. And Rome knows that because they've been working on implementing all of these techniques for centuries now to where we're at. And it's still the same playbook, you guys. If you were to only see the parallels in the playbook, you could see, but you don't see. Many people don't see. They don't see their nose in front of their face because of the programming. The programming, be it religious programming that this is all prophecy, it's supposed to happen like this. Well, if you have a group of people that wrote a book, left what they wanted to leave in it, took out what they didn't want you to know in it, then went around and burned and killed anybody who spoke against it, doesn't that sound suspicious to you guys, honestly? And I'm not coming at you because I really want to challenge anybody's personal beliefs, because we all have free will to believe what we want. But I'm just asking you to think about it. Doesn't that sound suspect to some kind of a scheme like social elitists might come up with to control the peasant class? Honestly, ask yourself. Ask yourself. And I'm not saying you have to choose my way. I'm not saying, but I just want you to think more, think deeply into this programming. Because like I said, you were not born with a program. You were born free. You were born a beautiful human soul having an experience here, a gift, really. Life is a gift. And because we're born into their programs, we're born into slavery, we're born into oppression. And many people just go along with it because that's the way it's always been. Well, what happens if that's the way it's always been and nobody does anything to change it? That's the way it always will be, right? So today I look at these protests, which those of you guys who are with me on Facebook, you know what I mean? You guys hang out with me there and you know how I feel about the protests. We don't need to go out there and protest something that we already have freely. We could silently sit at home and just not do anything. We could silently sit at home and not go to work. We could silently sit at home and stop paying our bills. We could all, as the plebs, get together and just say, you know what? We're not going to your wars. We're not going to go and do this shit anymore. We're going to sit at home. We're going to work our land. We're going to share our yields with each other, and we're going to completely ignore you. But it can't be unless majority of the people can see that that can be done, which is where we struggle in today's society, because majority of the people are programmed and clinging to the false construct. They're clinging to the belief that these institutions, these criminals, these psychopaths, these elitists have some kind of authority over us, when that's farthest thing from the truth. We have all the authority over ourselves, but it is your consent to them and what they're trying to do that gives your life force energy, your volt of energy, over to their system. And this, my friends, is how the beast of Rome is alive and well, kicking today, and it's almost ready to stomp you guys out forever. Because this, if you really look into it, all today's society, today, everything leads back to Rome. There really is nothing new under the sun. Sorry, guys. So when these people would go out there and they would protest and go on strike, it reminds me of what people are doing now with the boogie bug, Orwellian mandates and such, in all of these ridiculous laws and regulations and stipulations, and just this, I can't even fathom the stupidity of what's happening out there. I honestly want to cry about it, because I see so many people surrendering over their life and throwing it down at the altar of these evil psychopaths. And it really does strike me in the core of my heart, because I love people, but I also understand that people have free will, and I can't make people choose anything, just like you can't. You know, we can only be who we are and choose for ourselves, right? Well, these people out there protesting, they're not seeing that little part where you don't have to do that. None of us have to go out there and do that. That's what they used to do, is like go out there and demand that they be treated better by the ruling class, make demands on the criminals. Who gives the criminals the fucking authority? We do. So just sit there and stop. No. No. Why? We are the police. We are the military. We are the laborers. We are the truckers. We are the farmers. We are everything. And if everybody just said stop, no, they have nothing. What are they going to do? I can tell you, they're planning it already. It's going to happen regardless. You're going to see soon. And I have to be really tiptoey about what I say, because you guys, the censorship is so hard, which you guys don't see the trouble, right? Nobody is seeing the trouble when we can't freely speak, when only their narrative can be promoted. You guys, that's called fascism. Do we not know from history what kind of fruit fascism bears? Does anybody want to write in the comments what kind of fruit fascism bears? Because that's what you're complying with. This isn't about health and safety. and the betterment of humanity and doing the good work for everybody to remain healthy. Because that's not life, that's a deluded belief. Not one of us comes here to live forever. Not one of us will in this vessel. We all come, and this is from everybody's life. Look back into your own times. My dad, prior to all of this, was taken out by cancer, 53 years old. Not one of us is going to live forever, but we are going to be here and live. And you can't let them take that living part from you, which is what's happening. They want to put you in a metaverse where you don't know what it's like to be human anymore, completely disconnect you from the soul, which is the essence of who you are. Not a religion. You are not a Christian. You are not a Muslim. You are not a Buddhist. You are not this or that. You just are. You are the essence of God walking around in the flesh. That's you. I'm not spiritual. Yes, you are. You're alive, breathing the spirit of life into you. You are spiritual, but they want to take anything that you are and pollute it with their agenda to completely control you. If good people, we allow these kinds of experiments on the human to go in and start altering us and creating cyborg type beings, then under natural law, which is God's law, just the law of the universe, we're not protected. We will no longer be recognized by the Father. We won't be recognized as an organic being in the realm. We won't have any kind of, it's baffling to me. That doesn't scare people. That you're not going to be organic anymore. You're going to be something ungodly that's not natural. And you're going to let these criminals do that to you? For what reason would you surrender your soul? Somebody in the comments tell me, what would be the price that you would pay to surrender your soul? I'll wait. I'm going to have a puff. I'm going to look at comments real quick, guys. Hi, Conan. Hey, Robert. Absolutely. Cesar. Charlotte. Good answer. Charlotte says nothing. Absolutely. Nothing. Nothing could get me to sit here today and say, no, I'm going to just sell my soul over to a criminal elite system and take my humanity away from me and turn me into a bot person. And it's like the Matrix, right? The last Matrix. What was that one called? Resurrection? The Matrix Resurrection? Where it's like the machines were after the living beings, right? And Agent Smith, he is the beast coming for them. He deems them worthless, right? And they were fighting and fighting and fighting for their lives. And they wanted to hang on to humanity. And they wanted just to be human and be done with the war, right? It's kind of that same thing that we're facing now, guys. You got a choice. Do you want to forever be merged with this matrix, artificial reality, or do you want to know what it's like to be human and remain human? But the choice has to be with us because of the programming. The program. You're programmed. You must be able to challenge your beliefs right now. And if you can't sit back, 822, you can't sit back and challenge your own beliefs, then you're in a primitive mind and primitive consciousness, and you are not evolved. And you must push through the programming. You must reset to zero template. You must take away anything that they've put in you on who you are and what you believe, and realize that you are just a spiritual person here. You are God in the flesh, walking, having a human experience. And you have been artificially programmed by the beast, aka the Matrix programs. And you have to rewrite it all. Rewrite all your programming. And if you don't do that, then you're always going to sit back and surrender yourself to things that these upper class psychotic criminals want to do. And the reason why this time now is so much different than everything that we've seen in history is because now we're talking about the tech being such a threat that it will enslave you, not to the point where you can't even go out and strike against them. We're talking about a social credit system that can digitally starve you and your family. We don't know if it could possibly kill you if they shut you down or whatever. We don't know the dangers of letting them put tech inside of us like they've been experimenting on us. We don't understand any of that, but we've got to stop against it because we don't need it. It's not natural. We don't need this. But people are so addicted to it. Right? We're so addicted to the program. They've made it look so nice. And the only reason why people are addicted to it is because it's an escape. And what do people want to escape from? They want to escape from this artificial fucking reality that's been created for us. This hell where we're born into slavery, generation after generation after generation, slowly making it harder and harder on the ones that come later, on the children that come next. So the children grow up escaping into the tech. Because why? Because mom and dad are out working for the elite scumbags, trying to make their way to pay the way. And what do they have? They have the technology, and they escape into it, and they run into it, and it becomes a place where they escape. And then they say, oh no, it sounds good to be part of the metaverse. They can go into the metaverse and have things and feel connected with people, even through the devices that they're not getting in the reality of life, because this life is so fucked. So generations and for generations, this has been the plan in the making. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars came in and they said, shh, quietly, listen, here's how we're going to get this to this. We first have to go to the families. We must break the families up. Mothers and fathers raising the children is a big no-no. We can't control that kind of an environment. We've got to go and create all of these different things to separate that. Now you see single mothers struggling. Then you see men living in lustful desires. Men not knowing and wanting to take care and just being, I don't know, are they men? Sometimes, but that's a program that they're questioning if they like this kind of or that kind of. It's all by design, folks. And you can tell me I'm crazy. You can say this and that, but that's the truth of it. Absolutely, Conan. The truth of it is that this is all part of the agenda and there's nothing new under the sun. But if people don't stop and stand up against this right now, the humanity is never going to be the same because we're not going to be humanity. We're going to be their tech. We're going to be under their control. Clink to all of you guys who are here. Ow. So just for those of you guys who have found me, that they wouldn't let me go live on Facebook. They said I was abusing the privilege. I was abusing the privilege of live, and to keep everybody safe, they took away the privilege of me going live just now. And so, yeah, folks. Yeah. Cheers, Lisa. What bag? I don't have anything. I have a banana. I don't have anything. I love you too. Well, and I don't want to just keep rambling on over here, but I just wanted to come on and have a topic, and they wouldn't let me do it on Fedbook because of the criminal regime. Okay. And you guys, we are just really in a dangerous time. We're in such a dangerous time, my friends. We are. Dang it. I want to tell people how much danger we're in. And they don't listen. And it's so frustrating for us, right? Because we want to help. But to see people like the plebs of modern time going out here and just still pleading with the criminals to give us our rights, let us be freedom. We don't want to be locked down. We don't have to do that. We just don't play the game with them. They have nothing. They have nothing if we don't play. But if we keep playing, then we will never win. If we continue to play this game with them, we will never win. They will have the tech to annihilate us. They already have technology that would really pose a great resistance to the humans. Okay? But at least if we go out, we would go out as human. with you know what I mean? You guys you can't even imagine what they would do if we keep letting them have this power. And this is why the judgment has to come in and there has to be a reaping. Folks. There will be a reaping. Spirit's coming. Because what people don't understand, and this is the truth of this place, it is a matrix. There's a natural grid. This is nature. This is God. All of creation, right? God's property. Natural. And then there is the artificial matrix that they, since Roman times, have been working, even before, have been working on constructing under God's grid. And that is the beast. And here we are now, and the beast rules. Technology is the Antichrist system. And I know people don't want to hear me say that. And I'm not saying I'm anti-technology. There's pros and cons to everything. Technology is a great tool if we're using it right. Unfortunately, society today doesn't use it right. We have been brainwashed and conditioned into this fake artificial reality. So it's in every home, which it was part of the prophecy that it's going to be in every home. And people don't want to lose it. They cling to it. They're so reliant on it. Invisible power supporting them called devil. Well, the devil is nothing more than the negative energy. There is a polarity that is required for anything to exist. You have to have dark and the light. Let's go back to the Matrix Resurrection, right? When Neo goes to see the Oracle and he's like asking her questions that she didn't tell him about. And he's like asking about Agent Smith. Who is Agent Smith? Agent Smith is you, is your polarity, Neo. And there you have this great story erected. God versus evil. God and the devil were the adversary. It has to be. It's hermetic. And they know this. The upper echelon, these elite scumbags, they understand the esoteric side of this. Many people are programmed not to listen to anybody who's talking about the esoteric stuff, who's talking about astrology, who's talking about anything outside of the Bible. They are taught and programmed that every bit of knowledge that does not come from the book is evil. And that's where I told you they got you by the balls, because you're so programmed with the fear that you're going to get judged and condemned if you think, big brain it, outside of the primitive mind of the book. If you explore the truth of any of it, then you're going to be judged by God and you're not going to get to the magical place. So the mind fuck of the Bible is that fear controls. It's the New World Order playbook. It's the same thing. And I'm not saying this, but this is where I was saying earlier on. You must completely unprogram your brain to understand any of this and be open to receive the information that you process as a zero templated processor. And that way, your truth is what sticks, and what resonates with you is the truth, because we all have it in us. I know that's a little confusing, but God and the devil are one. Blasphemer! I hear it already with some people. And I'm not, I mean, come on, guys. You can attack me and tell me I'm evil, tell me I'm devil, but that's just not reality. I'm speaking facts right now. It's the polarity of it, of the two, just like each individual here. You have a dark side and you have a light side. You have the light or the shadow inside of you. And please don't tell me that you don't, that you're under the protection of God. It's ridiculous. Listen, you are the dark or the light. It's what you choose. You choose each decision. It could be a bad decision that is feeding the shadow and feeding that darkness in you, or it can be to choose to live true and to be in love and to live, feed the light. But it's energetic. It's all energy. And this is what people get all weird about and say, New Age, New Age. It's not freaking New Age, folks. There's nothing new about it. This is just the way it is from the dawn of time. This isn't New Age teaching. They invert everything. So now there's this whole New Age movement, right? And that's done by design. Just like the Christianity and those teachings have been inverted. The teachings of Jesus were inverted. Everything is inverted by these guys for an agenda. The only truth is the truth that's in you. Once you figure out who you truly are and come online to the fact that you are releasing all programs and starting from zero to figure out who you are. So you could call me evil, you could call me the Antichrist, you could call me whatever, but I'm not going to listen to anything that you say because I already know. I already went through the work. And I'm not saying I know everything, because I don't. I'm just trying to figure it out just like everybody should be, right? And I'm trying to stop evil. Because right now, humanity is out of balance. And I was talking about the duality. It is the polarity. So just like in, I'm going to say the Matrix, the third Matrix, what is it? Resurrection or something? Is that what that movie's called? So just like in that, when she said that Agent Smith is you, if Neo was the chosen one and basically the savior, Agent Smith was the adversary that was coming against him, right? So it was out of balance because Agent Smith was getting too powerful. That's where we're at now. We're out of balance. The Matrix and the Beast is getting too much power. So now it's up to humanity and the natural grid to step in and save. And one thing I wanted to point out, Neo in that film, he lost his eyesight, folks, right? Remember when Agent Smith came and blocked his eye? And that was symbolic. The programming and the Matrix has dulled your third eye. They've killed your third eye. It's a pineal gland. And the eyes were symbolic for Neo's vision, right? So Agent Smith was trying to take his vision so he couldn't find his way out and be defeated. But what happened? You can't take Neo's vision because Neo knew who he was. And so what happened is he operated from instinct and he sensed the energy. And the way they cinematically put it together, Neo could still see the vibrations and the energy. It was just a different kind of vision, right? He could only see like the energy of the things around him. He didn't have clear vision. So he was operating by instinct and by his inner knowing and following his path. And that is us. Right? We have to follow our path based on the internal guidance that we're getting. We have to be spiritual in this time. Even if you don't understand it, you're not going to be able to be led if you're being led by the program, which is you're this, you're that, you're a Christian, you're this, you're that. You can't be led in that template. You're not going to be able to follow your inner knowing if you're being led by external programs. And that's the importance, folks, of defragmenting who you are. And following that inner knowing. My people. Hi, Tanya. Clink. Hi, Piston Bro. So yeah, kind of where we're finding ourselves out here, folks. But like I was trying to get to the whole point of the natural grid is going to step in because it's out of balance what they're doing. They're messing with nature, creating all these storms and stuff. Nature's going to balance itself out. You can't create hurricanes and tornadoes over here and have it not throw natural grid out of balance over here. So then the natural grid over here is going to fire up trying to balance out what they're doing over here. And then it's going to create chaos over here. This isn't climate change. This is them at war with God. The Antichrist system fighting God. And so when they're blocking out the sun, which by the way, our sun used to be golden. Does everybody here remember what it was like to be a child and look up and have the happy golden sun? And that golden color of the sun is healing. It opens us up. They've now managed to block out our golden sun with these evil psychotic agendas. And they took that from us because that is a source of human power. Sunlight activates you. It activates your Kundalini. It activates who you are, the Christ inside of you. The sun. Get it? Jesus, the sun. You're linked to the sun. We all are. That sun gives us power, and they've taken that from us on purpose. And then we can go into all this stuff another time. I can get on another rant because I'm almost an hour in on this one as it is. So they've taken that from you to keep you in the dark, to keep you in the program, folks. They don't want you activated. Activating your spiritual person is the biggest flex on it's the biggest flex right now. If everybody out there in the realm activated themselves into who they truly are, this artificial grid would freaking collapse. But they're letting it be destroyed on purpose. They're going to have wars on purpose. They're going to collapse economies on purpose. And all of this is because they're taking what they've learned from ancient Rome when the plebs came against them in all these different ways, right? And they're seeing now that the plebs of today are still contesting them in their rule. And they're going to completely collapse and bring in so much darkness that the plebs beg for their help. And if people don't if people don't take the power back. If Well, that's why I don't want to speak on that so much, because it sounds like I'm prophesying evil, but that's why majority of the people today will die. The majority of people running around the plane today have to die. I hate to say it. They have to die. A lot of people have to go. And some of you guys aren't going to understand that and think I'm being evil by speaking that. And I'm not. I'm not being evil, but they have to go. A lot of people have to die. And that's only because, as the projectors of the reality, these people cannot be unprogrammed. They're too far gone. A lot of people cannot be saved at this point. They will never, ever, 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 ever get it. Ever. They will die in this program. Sorry to say that, but yeah. Then there'll be people who do get it. And I can't say anything but just brace yourself for come what may. But these guys at the top are planning to make it so they can never be contested by the slave class again. And they want total control. And if you give it to the beast, that's free will and that's your choice. But 8:44 on the clock. I don't know. I don't like saying stuff like that. I feel bad with it even coming out of my mouth. I hear you, Patty, but it's coming, girlfriend. I don't like the idea of it. I had a hard time. Like when that vision and that was coming to me like a year ago, when I was asking to be shown things and that was coming in, I cried. Almost every time I thought about it, I cried. I cried for the people because it's so dark what's coming. But then over time, I understand why it has to happen. I understand why it's happening. I understand why it has to happen like that. So in our muggle mind, if we're looking from a 3D person-to-person aspect, we don't want to see death. We don't want to see people die. But they're choosing it. Just like we're all choosing our path, right? It's free will. So when we're looking at the bigger picture for humanity, which we need to look at, guys, we're looking at humanity's survival. We're not just looking at individual survival here. This isn't about you and me. We're talking about humanity. The future of humanity as humans, not transhuman infected tech beast system slaves. It's the only way is to remove the fleas from the dog, so to speak. All right, I'll read a couple messages and I'm going to dip, guys. I know, Patty. I know, honey. And that's one thing that love and light people, I'm not saying you're one of those love and light people, darling, but that's a thing that we've got to accept. I was talking about the polarity of the dark and the light, right? We've got to accept the shadow, okay? The shadow. In order for us to survive, we're going to have to tap into our shadow. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to cause harm. That's not who I am, right? But there's certain choices we're going to have to make that come from our shadow. And we're going to have to be at peace with those choices. Like if someone was trying to grab my child and run off with them, I'll take a baseball bat and I'll smash their fucking head in. That's a shadow melody. See? But in that moment, I could tap into doing something that would be considered evil or dark, right? Smashing somebody's head in, that's evil. That's not something that's done of love, but that act, I would be doing it out of love, right? Does that make sense? So this is where we're at in humanity. Majority of people are about ready to get their head smashed in, for lack of better choice. Are we happy about it? No. You don't want to see that kind of thing come into fruition. You don't want to see it. But is it done for the betterment of all in love? Yeah. Does that make sense? Or does that sound weird? Probably weird, because I can't make it all make sense to everybody. So when we're talking about being able to tap into the shadow, we're going to see things, we're going to witness things. If you haven't already been disturbed by what you've seen and witnessed, I've been completely just taken back by some of the things I've seen people doing to these babies, injecting into these little ones. Fucking, oh my God. Bash the heads, before it gets worse, folks. That's what we all should be hoping. When we see what's happening and how evil and dark the agenda is, we should all be hoping in our hearts that the heads get bashed in sooner than later, before they do more damage to the pure little babies. You should be hoping to praying to whatever that this ends sooner than later, and that the destruction purges through quicker than it is. We should all be hoping that the beast is brought down sooner than later, not trying to hold it up and prolong it and protest it and we want change. That's not going to work. You're protesting to keep the beast erect? What kind of sickness are you? The plebs going and protesting to the elites, asking that they get better treatment? That was sickness. What the fuck? They had all the power. They built Rome. They could have easily taken Rome down with one decision, but the problem is it's all in the mind, and people don't realize that we have the power to say no, and we have the power to say, I don't want to give my energy to criminals who rule us. People don't believe it. So that's where we're at. That's why nature is going to step in, aka God, aka the judgment, aka the reaping. So the battle of the freaking God and his people, which are organic people, anything in nature is of God. A tree, an animal. It's all the spirit of God, right? So the natural grid is going to come in and fight against the man-made grid, because the man-made grid is fucking with it. And I would like to say that nature always wins. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Don't fear death, though. If death creeps on your door, accept it, man. You know what I mean? If it comes to you, that's part of it. That's part of life. We don't run from death, you guys. We do our best to enjoy the moments that we're here living. You find love in your moments. You cling to love that you find in every day, with your children, with your partner, with everyday life, looking up and seeing the butterflies fly, or listening to the birds chirp. You find love and peace in the moments that you can find them here right now, while you're present in the moment. And that's your gift. That's why it's called the present. So if they've taken our moments from us, locked us up, masked us up, hexed us up, where is your life, and why are you even clinging to live if you're surrendering over to slavery and that's your goal? Death would probably be better than a life of bondage in the metaverse, but they don't see it that way. Anyway, my good people, you all are a joy. Thank you guys for hanging out with me here on YouTube. Like those of you guys who've maybe joined later, I was banned from going live on Facebook because they're trying to keep people safe over there. And apparently me talking about whatever I talk about is a big threat. I disagreed with their decision. So, come what may. Like I said yesterday, I'm working on getting on some other places, guys. So, yeah. Lisa, babe, you're right on it. Don't, the politicians, baby, honey, this is the same thing. You know, nobody runs for office at that level if they're not sold into serving Rome's agenda. And that's just the way of it. These politicians are all actors on a stage to make you have the illusion that you have some kind of a choice if you cast your life force energy into the system. It doesn't matter if you go red or blue. You're still casting your consent into the overall system to govern. Withdraw it. Call all of your power back to you. Put it in you. Cast your vote to yourself and find out who you are. Okay, people? All right, my good freaking people of the world. I hope that you guys have a glorious day. Yeah. I don't know. You guys, I was going to go and do a tarot blitz on the page. I don't know if I'll be able to go live later. I'll have to wait till they see what my decision is about me being able to broadcast over there. So if I can't do a tarot blitz today over there, I'm sorry. I love sipping with you guys too. Remember, you guys, we are all legendary. Okay? We really are. We are not insignificant. We are the power. We are. And let's remember that as I go out this morning with you guys. Clinking. I want to get to the music part. Sorry. Never die. It's Assassin's Creed. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you. Thank you guys. Love you. Hope you guys enjoy. Greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and fighting. Absolutely, you guys. Clinkin'. Thank you guys. Right, Rita? It's about time. We cast our vote into ourselves. Stop casting it into criminal systems. What in the freaking frack, man? Is that... I mean, it's a simple concept, really. Stop giving the system the power and control over us. But majority of the people are never going to do that, so that's why nature is going to come in and say, get out of the way, guys. Sorry. I know that sounds dark, but I don't mean it out of an evil place. I really don't. I love people. All right. Well, good day, guys. I'm going to try and get off of here. And like I said, if I can go live later on today for the Tarot Blitz on Facebook, I will. But that's TBD by the fascist people making the imaginary decisions behind their criminal attempt to silence me. Okay? All right. Bye, guys.